Hello there, I'm the Biblical Translator, and I call myself that because I take the Bible and I try to translate it into a more user-friendly language so that it's relevant for us today. And today's scripture is taken from Mark 14:55. They took Jesus to the high priest's home, where the leading priests, the elders and the teachers of religious law had gathered. Now, ironically, the high priest had the unique task of offering a daily meal sacrifice to God, and I was wondering if that's why they took Jesus there, because he was to be our sacrifice, or whether it was just the fact that he could supersede all rulings, and so they felt as though once he decided what would happen to Jesus, that was what would happen. So meanwhile, Peter followed him at a distance and went right into the high priest's courtyard. There he sat with guards, warming himself by the fire. Now, don't you think that's ironic? Somebody who said he would never desert Jesus kind of scuttles in behind him, and while he's being tormented and interrogated, he's sitting in the comfort and safety of his surroundings with the guards in front of a warm fire. It just goes to show you that people tend to look for the most comfortable option for themselves. And I'm not saying you can blame them, but that is just human nature. Leading priests tried to find something that would justify killing Jesus. And it wasn't until he admitted, "I am the Messiah, Son of the Blessed One." And he continued, "And you will see the Son of Man seated in the place of power at God's right hand and coming on the clouds of heaven." So can you imagine? That's like, say, I go into a church now and I'm telling the priest that I am the Son of God, or I'm the daughter of God, or I'm the child of God, I should say. They'd look on me like I'm crazy. They would probably say I'm blaspheming, because they just don't believe it. They don't believe that somebody who comes in human form can relegate themselves to that high status. But that's what Jesus did. And the thing is, they had been accusing him of all kinds of things before that, and he kept quiet. He did not defend himself. And it tells us that, if you are not guilty, if you've done nothing wrong, don't waste your energy on defending yourself. Admit when things are correct. He admitted who he was, and that is the only thing you can confirm. You can confirm who you are. You can confirm your status. You can confirm your character and your intentions, but you cannot confirm anything that's in the minds of other people. So when people are saying that you said this, when they're fabricating information, there's nothing you can do without evidence to prove that you did not do it. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. So if somebody wants to lie against you or give false witness or whatever it is they want to do, just let them get on with it. I always say judgment is mine, said the Lord, because there's no point. And people are bound to believe, the majority are bound to believe the lie than they are the truth. So you could be wasting your energy. So Jesus didn't say anything. He just kept stum. During the period where they were saying, you said you could knock down a building and build it up back without any human interference and stuff like that. He just ignored it because he knew they were trying to goad him. But when they asked him who he was able to admit who he was, because that was a fact for him. And that is what we need to take from this message. Don't waste our time and our energy trying to defend ourselves on what people say about us, worrying about the opinions of other people. Just concentrate on what you know about yourself and what you can admit about yourself, because only that is what else did I put here? I said, until that point, Jesus did not feel the need to defend himself, but he felt justified, acknowledging who he was. Not out of fear anymore, but out of confidence and assuredness. Because remember, he was trembling in fear a few moments before. He was at the point of death, worried at the point of death. Nervous, he needed support. But all of a sudden, he found the courage to stand up and say, yes, I am he. I am the Son of God. And you will see me on the right hand of God the Father. Where did that courage come from? It came from acceptance. It came from acceptance that he cannot change the fulfillment of prophecy. He cannot change it. It has to be fulfilled. He has to do what he is told. He was being an obedient servant. And in order for them to justify killing them, he had to give them good reason. He had to say and acknowledge that he was the Son of God, so that that would go down in history. If he was just any old person, it would make no difference. But what he did, he acknowledged and admitted he was the Son of God, so that after they killed him and he rose out of the grave and was resurrected, they could say, bloody hell, he was telling the truth. What has more power? That would have more power. And remember, they tried to hide the fact that he'd been resurrected because they knew the impact. If people knew that he was really the Son of God, how scared they would be, and it would cause a riot. So, what else have I got here? It was these words, aligning himself with God, that condemned him, as they did not believe he was the Son of God. He was obviously a blasphemer. So yeah, that's what they said, justified killing him, because blaspheme is one of breaking the 10 Commandments, isn't it? And so they felt justified. They didn't want to believe because he wasn't out to prove himself. And that's what we don't have to do. We don't have to prove ourselves. Some people think that, they're constantly trying to prove themselves and prove that how great they are, and how esteemed they are, how accomplished they are, always trying to prove and evidence to other people. Oh, I have a PhD. Oh, I have, a doctorate from such and such, from King's College. I went to Harvard. I did this and I did that. Why is it necessary to flaunt your accomplishments? It's different if you're going for an interview. But some people, and especially in the East Asian culture, having those qualifications is what gives you credit and standing. And some people, that is where they base their credibility on. That's what gives them status. And so they feel as though they do need to flaunt it. But just supposing they'd gone through Harvard University or Birkbeck or wherever and got their accomplishments and didn't tell anyone. Supposing they got their job as a professor or a scientist or some other high-ranking job and didn't tell anyone. Would they still have the same degree of self-worth? Or does it rely on what people think? Does it rely on people's accolades? Does it rely on praise and recognition? Is that what's important? And do you do that? Do you go to these colleges and institutions and universities because you want that acknowledgement? You want to be recognized, you want to be endorsed, you want to be placed on a hierarchy that's higher than everyone else, or a platform that's higher than everyone else. Is that why you do that? Or are you doing it to fulfill your own sense of using your talents and it's just something you want to do for yourself? You'll find a lot of people They rely so much on what people think of them, and that is why they're always defending themselves. Well, I'm here to tell you today that you don't need to defend yourself, and I'm the Biblical Translator.